Peace to everybody, back with another video. This is George Michael turned down leading role in 4 weddings and a funeral. Wow. Well, the Wham singer had been offered a part by Richard Curtis and asked to provide music for the soundtrack. So, yeah, the Wham singer George Michael has been offered a part, but unfortunately he didn't take that part. His greatest hits are set to be the soundtrack to film Last Christmas, but it is not the late George Michael's first brush with the romantic comedy genre. So he was supposed to have the soundtrack to the film Last Christmas, but it is not the late George Michael's first brush with the romantic comedy genre, so he didn't want that part. A friend of the star has revealed the singer was once lined up for a leading role in Richard Curtis' movie 4 Weddings and a Funeral. So the friend of the star has revealed the singer was once lined up for this movie, and it was Richard Curtis's movie 4 Weddings and a Funeral. The singer was approached for a part in the 1994 hit, as well as providing some of the music. So he was approached, and of course, you know, George Michael is is the type of person that don't want to be around other people as well. So this is another reason why he turned it down. And of course, the singer was approached for a part in the 1994 hit. But the pal said he pulled out as the time wasn't quite right, and he wanted to focus on his own music. So George Michael pulled out. He didn't want no part of it. He also, the pal said, wasn't quite right for him. And George Michael just wanted to focus on his music. That's all he wanted. He didn't want to be a movie star at all, because all George Michael wanted was his music, and that's all he focused on. And of course, here's the late George Michael, who had died on Christmas Day in 2016. And of course, there's another, and it says the film went on to be a huge success, obviously. They said the role was for a gay character, and he was incredibly flattered to be asked, but decided against it, likewise providing the music. So the role was called for a gay character, and he was incredibly flattered to be asked, but decided against it. So George Michael decided against it. And of course, it was likewise providing the music. That's what George Michael would have done, just provided the music. But no, he didn't want it. It's amazing that years later, George's music is finally center stage on a film. He would have loved it. Yeah, so George Michael would have loved his music be finally center stage of a film. But George Michael passed away, unfortunately, and of course he couldn't see his music to be center stage of a film. Last Christmas in cinemas on November 15th was co-scripted by Emma Thompson, who also stars alongside Emilia Clarke and Henry Golding, who was in Crazy Rich Asians. So there was a Last Christmas in cinemas on November 15th, and was co-scripted by Emma Thompson. So she co-scripted this movie as well, who also stars alongside with Emilia Clarke and Henry Golding, who was in Crazy Rich Asians. So I don't know what that show is about, Crazy Rich Asians, so that's none of my business. But this is all about George Michael, and you know, it's sad that he's gone and everything. And of course, here's Wham for the late George Michael in the Last Christmas video. So this was for the song Last Christmas. Thompson wanted to make a film inspired by George's song Last Christmas, and in 2013 she even visited him at his London home where he gave her his blessings. So Emma Thompson, she visited George Michael at his home in London. Of course, he gave her his blessings. She wanted to make a film inspired by George's song Last Christmas. And this is when she visited him in London in 2013. Emma said the wisdom and emotional scope of George's lyrics have always amazed me. So this is what Emma Thompson has said about the lyrics of George Michael. The soundtrack released on November 8th features 3 Wham songs, including Last Christmas and Everything She Wants, as well as 12 of George's tracks from his solo years. So yeah, the soundtrack released on November 8th features 3 Wham songs, including Last Christmas and Everything She Wants. And of course, it also had 12 of George's tracks from his solo years. There is even a new track, This Is How We Want You to Get High, which has never been heard before. So there's a new track that has never been heard before, and it's called We Want You to Get High. Now, I don't know anything about that song at all, so this is something new that just, I don't know, popped out of nowhere. Music insiders say they have high hopes for the album, and many of the singer's fans hope it could even land Michael with a posthumous Christmas #1, something he has never achieved. Yeah, so this is what the music insiders are saying, that they have high hopes for the album. Of course, Christmas #1, something he has never achieved, and he never had achieved it. Last Christmas peaked at 2 back in 1984 as Band-Aid's Do They Know It's Christmas kept it off the top spot. So in 1984, Last Christmas peaked at 2 back in as Band-Aid's Do They Know It's Christmas, and it kept it off the top spot. So it was never at #1. So it just went, I don't know how many spots down, but it just went straight down. 4 Weddings and a Funeral featured Hugh Grant, Andie MacDowell, Christian Scott, Thomas, and Rowan Atkinson. So that's who the 4 Weddings and a Funeral featured, those main actors. Wet, 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 Recorded Love is all around for the soundtrack and stayed at #1 for 15 weeks. So that song stayed at #1 for 15 weeks straight, and nobody could touch them. It was Love Is All Around for the soundtrack, and I mean, stayed at #1 for 15 weeks. That song did pretty good on its own, and nobody was allowed to touch that. And of course, this Christmas, it'll be 3 years that George Michael had passed away. And, a lot of fans do miss him so much, and it's just sad that he is gone now. But his music will live on forever. Leave your comments below. I am out.